I'm sure by now all of you are aware that Woodmo are the online expert when it comes to spare parts. And the best point is that they have the spare parts for all vehicles available in India. So even if your car is out of production now, maybe you have a last generation model, even then they have the spare part available. They have the entire catalog. And the best point is that they have the same spare part from a host of different component makers, which gives you great flexibility in the pricing overall. So check them out today. Check out the app. It's available both for iOS as well as Android devices. And also check out the website for the latest schemes.
Well, this here is the all-new Tata Safari, and also at the back you can see the Tata Harrier. How when Tata launched the Harrier in 2019, it was a massive hit because it had a lot of interest amongst car buyers. And if you watch my older video of that car, you'll see that people have seen that video 1.5 million times. Yes, that's the amount of interest that people had in that car, and I hope that you again do start watching my videos. And even this car's video does go not to a million maybe, but at least to a lakh. So do watch this video and share with all your friends. Now let's talk about both these cars and tell you what are the big changes. If you see this car from the front, both these cars are very similar in terms of the design. Of course, on the Safari you get a much more aggressive grille. The Harrier is slightly less aggressive grille. This one really looks very aggressive, massive grille. And of course you get these sleek LEDs right on top of the grille, and of course they have that function when you press the key. They have a flashy light thing going on, and even when you press it to switch the car, unlock it rather, they also have a smart design at that time. Lower part of the bumper of course has the sensors because this car has that ADAS suite. And you also, if you see this below the front headlamps, you will see these cuts and creases. Now these actually are air vents which work, and the flow of air goes onto the wheels to improve the aerodynamic efficiency of this car. Now this of course is Safari. When you look at the Harrier, which is behind me, it looks pretty much similar to this car in terms of the way it looks from the front end. Very small changes, very small details which are different, but more or less very similar. Now if you move on to the side, let me show you the big difference. The big difference is the alloy wheel design. This one really has a very smart and very distinct alloy wheel design. And of course these are 19-inch wheels on the top of the line version. The one below this, or the base version, has 18-inch wheels, and the 18-inch wheels are the maximum size on the Harrier and 17 inches for the base Harrier. So two different size of wheels. If you move on to the side, well, you'll see that this one has these cameras on both the side view mirrors, because again ADAS is being used, and of course the indicators, and this is dual tone. And the side profile is more or less the same, just like the last version of the car, more or less the same, lots of chrome elements. The back end again pretty similar, but very minor changes on the lamp design, very minor changes. Huge beam of light which looks really cool, and of course the Safari logo. Now this car has that wave thing where you do this, and you know, the boot unlocks itself. Of course right now I have not opened it up, so it won't. So you can use it from here and open it, the button. And of course a power tailgate, so you don't have to use any of your effort into it because it really opens up quite nicely. Now of course this is Safari, so the space in the back in the boot area is very minimal, and it's the best car to go and pick up your mother-in-law in. Why? Because every time she's coming, you can tell her there's no space in my boot, so get only one bag and stay with us for only 1 week, not for the entire month. That's something you can do with the Harrier, so maybe you need to keep this in mind before you make a buying decision. Anyway, enough of mother-in-law jokes. Let's jump in the front seat and show you the big changes on the inside. Well, I'm inside the cabin now of the Tata Safari, and I have to say, as soon as you enter the cabin of this car, you'll really pinch yourself, and you'll really be surprised with the interior quality, the design, the overall materials. Everything is absolutely first rate. In fact, I think that this car isn't a car which sells in the 20-25 lakh rupee bracket. It seems that this car could easily compete with cars twice its price, 45-50 lakh rupees. This car can easily outclass them in terms of the interior. So that's something which is very good. Tata really has hit the ball right out of the park. Now in terms of the equipment, you really get all the bells and whistles, multiple cameras all across, multiple sensors to give you that ADAS safety kit, of course adaptive cruise control, automatic headlamps, rain sensing wipers, paddle shifters behind the steering wheel, and this huge and massive 12-inch touchscreen which works quite well, I have to say. Tata Motors touchscreens were their biggest weakness, but this one really is fantastic to operate. Everything is very easy to go through, and of course the lower part over here for the AC controls also is now completely touch, and it does work quite well. Some people might say we wanted that old school feel, but I think this is the new trend and everybody has to follow it in the future, and it really does work very well. Beautiful design here for the AC vents, and this little swoop over here which goes all the way up also looks quite good. Lots of cuts and creases, and of course this finish over here also looks quite good. Now normally what happens is that a lot of manufacturers, they give you good plastics on top where the line of visibility is good and the sight is there, but on the lower part of the door trim or maybe the central console, they give you very scratchy plastics, but not so over here, because the plastic over here also is quite robust and feels solid and well bolted together. And of course the big change now is this illuminated steering wheel. On the Nexon, it only has these 2 indents. Over here you get 4, so that's something which is quite different on this car. And of course you also get electric handbrake, auto hold function, this lovely gear lever, and this digital swivel wheel for the different modes.
Wet mode is activated.
Now this car doesn't have 4x4 just as yet, but
City drive mode activated.
But what Tata says is that if you do use these modes, and the traction changes also, the steering wheel weight changes and the feel changes, so that's something quite good. Now before I forget, a couple of very important features to keep your wife happy. One is of course dual zone climate control, so whoever's sitting here, maybe your wife, maybe your sister, maybe your mother, whoever you had a fight with, they might say that we want a different setting for the AC, why we made the car so cold and stuff like that. So you can always tell them to do their own setting. And of course apart from that, you also get cool front seats, and the seats over here can be adjusted both for the back as well as for the slide by the button. And of course this massive panoramic sunroof, which really does look very good. Overall both these cars are nearly identical in the interiors. The only difference is the seat fabric. This one uses a nice and light beige or off-white, and that one has a darker shade on the interior. I'll give the cabin of this car a strong score of 9 out of 10. Now let's jump in the back seat and see how good that really is. Well, now I'm in the back seat of the Safari, and I have to say that these are very comfortable captain seats. You can move the recline angle back or front depending, and of course you can slide them upward or backward as well. Huge windows, and of course you also get this curtain which you can lock over here and then just doze off to sleep. I'll just take it off right now. Of course grab handles, your own reading lamps, and a huge panoramic sunroof which goes all the way to the back. Now the back seat has been slightly raised up, so you do get a good view of whatever's happening in front of you. And of course you also get the last row of seats where we'll not enter today, but I will of course tell you that they get their own USB ports as well as cup holders and bottle holders and stuff like that. If you're comparing this car with the XUV 700, just for the back seat experience, I think the advantage is definitely with the Safari. So it's a no compromise car when it comes to the overall cabin space. I'll give the interior of this car a strong score of 9 out of 10. Now let's take this car out for a drive and tell you how it is to drive. Well, so now I'm driving the Tata Safari. This car has the same drivetrain, so you get the same 2-litre turbocharged petrol. No, it's not the petrol, it's the diesel. I was just seeing if you are paying attention or not to this video. It makes about 170 bhp, which is exactly the same power output which the previous generation of the car made. And I have to say that in terms of power output, it is quite respectable, it is quite good, and it is more than sufficient as well. Now right now, as you can see, we're driving within the city limits of Pune, and I have to say that this car is quite good. It's a big car, it's a large car, and even then I think the driving dynamics are quite decent considering its size as well as its shape. Now steering wheel is usually quite light, and of course the different modes that you get over here, they do translate into the weight on the steering wheel. So in case
wet mode is activated.
if you put it in wet mode, it does become a little heavy, and of course if you put it in the regular mode,
city drive mode
then it becomes a
activated.
little light. So it definitely is something that a lot of people will pay attention to. The drivetrain also, the engine also changes performance, and that's something which a lot of people will also appreciate. What you will also appreciate, of course, is the new addition of paddle shifters now behind the steering wheel. I have to say that the paddles actually do work quite well, and within milliseconds the gears actually change when you use the paddle shifter. So that's something again which a lot of customers who want an engaging driving experience from their automatic car will
truly enjoy. Now, is this really an all-out driver's car? Can you really say it's a great car for keen drivers? Well, no, it's not. And no, being a large size SUV really can be called a keen driver's car. And neither can you say that for this car, because it's not. It's a big and bulky SUV, and it shows when you push into corners. There is a little bit of body roll, and of course the steering wheel also isn't the sharpest. It's not the quick-witted steering wheel that you find on some other cars, but it's okay because Tata Motors really is focusing on comfort on this car, and it shows because the suspension is very well tuned. It really does soak in the bumps very well. And right now we're driving on some pothole roads and some patchy roads in Pune, because after the monsoon, that's typical of any Indian city. And I have to say that despite having large and chunky tires, 19-inch wheel, despite that, it is quite a comfortable ride, and it doesn't show any signs of any kind of issues really in terms of the comfort. And highway speeds also, it is a very stable and rock solid car. Gives you great sense of reassurance, and it gives you a great sense of confidence every time you take it out for a spin. Anyways guys, that's enough of me talking about the driving bits of this car. What do you have to say about this car? Do let me know in the comment section below. I'll stop this car now and give you a summary report about what you should do, whether you should consider buying this car or you should simply go ahead and avoid this car. Thanks so much for watching if you have seen it till the end. And in terms of driving bits, I'll give it a score of 88 out of 100. It's respectable, but not really an outright driver's favorite.
Well, so if you're in the market for a 7-seater SUV, then this is a car you should definitely keep in your shortlist. It might not have a petrol option, which might be a negative factor for some, but if you're old school like me and you want that diesel power to be felt, then this engine really is very good. It's a very robust car, very safe car, and also very roomy and spacious car. It also comes with the latest gadgets and gizmos when it comes to safety, and of course it has a swag factor like no other SUV out there on the Indian roads. So definitely keep this car on the top of your shortlist. I'll give it a strong score of 92 out of 100. The interiors in itself are so good that it can outlast some cars twice its price. Which are the cars I'm talking about? You can let me know in the comment section below. 92 out of 100.